A good Erev Shabbos, and I hope you're all well. Firstly, Mazel Tov this week. Mazel Tov to Joanna and Jonathan Benjamin on the occasion of Ollie's Bar Mitzvah, to Susie and Andrew Waterman on the occasion of Jodie's Bat Mitzvah, and to Debbie Levine, our community administrator, on the birth of a granddaughter, and to anyone else who's celebrating a birthday or anniversary in the coming week. We wish Refuah Shalema a full and speedy recovery to anyone who's unwell. We wish Aricha Shamim long life to Simon Gale on the sad passing of his father, Reverend Dr. Norman Gale, to Sandra Reback on the sad passing of her husband, and to Mark Macias on the sad passing of his father. We wish long life to anyone who's observing a Yortzeit in the coming week. Friends, let me share with you just a quick idea. As we read about the lengths that God went to in order to release us from slavery in Egypt, a fundamental question arises. Why? Why does God instruct Moshe Rabbeinu to demand our freedom from Pharaoh? And why, upon his repeated refusals, does God decimate Egypt with the 10 plagues? Now, we could answer that God was just fulfilling the promise he made to Avraham Avinu decades before. Or we could say that the Egyptians deserved it for enslaving and mistreating the children of Israel. But the question still remains. Why? Were the Jewish people really deserving of redemption? They had, as we know, sunk to the 49th level of tumah of spiritual impurity. They were just one step away from being completely spiritually lost. So what zechus, what merit did they have that meant that God made the effort to save them and to do so in such a miraculous way? You know, Chazal and Nahum Shimoni tell us, B'zchus Emunah nig'alu avoseinu mitzrayim. In the merit of their Emunah, their faith in God, our ancestors were redeemed from Egypt. Despite sinking so low, they still maintained their Emunah, and it was this that made them deserving of redemption. And the Yalkut continues and says, V'zchus Emunah atidim nishagal. And in the merit of our Emunah, we are destined at some point to be redeemed. And that is why the first of the 10 Commandments tells us, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God, Asher Hoseizicha me'eretz Mitzrayim, who took you out from the land of Egypt, Beis Avadim, from the house of bondage. As the Rambam writes, this first mitzvah is the mitzvah of Emunah, of belief and faith in God. And it contains 2 elements. Anochi Hashem, I am God, is the belief that God created the world and is actively involved in it. And Elokecha, well, that is the Emunah. That is the faith that every Jew is required to have, to believe that God is our God. He is always our God, and we are always his children. However distant we might be, however spiritually remote we may have become, even down to that 49th level of tumah. God took us out of Egypt in the merit of our Emunah, and he will redeem us as well. And we remind ourselves of this every single morning with the first tefillah that we say, to remind us of the great potential that we have for a special relationship with God. When we say Modeh Ani, when we acknowledge that our very life comes from God, we then conclude, Rabbi Emunah Secha, that God has tremendous faith in us. And often, God believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. But knowing that God believes in us gives us the impetus to put our faith in him. Good Shabbos.